Games like Dredge are what make indies so much more interesting than most, although not all, of modern AAA gaming, and dare I say it, even quadruple A gaming. Dredge isn't a slightly different version of a game you've played a dozen times. While it does borrow from other games, what it does with those pieces is totally its own. It captivates with its world and its systems to create something that's far greater than the individual components. It's a fantastic game that I frequently found it difficult to walk away from during my playthrough. That said, I don't think I found this to be quite the masterpiece so many others did. And there is a particular reason why. Don't get me wrong, I very much enjoyed the game. But there is one issue I had that's almost certainly a me problem that makes it fall a little short of being absolute perfection, at least for me. But I want to start with everything I loved about the game because there's a lot. First up is atmosphere. The thing that any regular viewer of the channel would be able to easily predict, I would say. Atmosphere is that special sauce that can take a collection of systems, stories, and gameplay to a whole nother level. The Lovecraftian-inspired world is mysterious. Characters you meet are all a bit odd, and the world they inhabit is beautifully strange. Most characters, to one degree or another, are aware of the monstrous fish and strange things happening at night as the fog rolls in, and they warn you of the dangers of venturing out at night. And when you eventually find yourself overstaying your welcome at night, the things the villagers have been alluding to will elicit unease and outright terror depending on your tolerances and how long you stayed out. You find out quickly that nights are dangerous, but also rewarding. Those rewards come from fishing and dredging, which is essentially fishing for scrap and items, which are both really well done. The actual mechanics of reeling in fish or items are different, but are also very similar. Both involve timed button presses as a wheel rotates. Once you are successful, you then pick up the item or fish, and then you get to play what everyone lovingly calls Fish Tetris. Fish Tetris requires you to take a fish or item that you caught and fit it into your boat's inventory. This is mostly enjoyable, and by the time it starts to outstay its welcome, you no longer need the money so desperately that you really need to make use of every last spot. On the system side, there is an oh-so-satisfying loop of going out, fishing, and dredging, and then you bring back your items to sell or improve your boat. You can research new fishing gear for your boat, purchase researched gear, and also use the parts you dredge up, plus the money, to upgrade the inventory of your boat, giving you more slots and also more slots that you can use specifically for that upgraded gear. You can also read books that you're given or find along the way as you sail. Essentially, they are a progress bar that fills up, similar to a research bar in other games. When you finish the book, you will get minor bonuses that help you with things like staying out later at night. It's an interesting concept and implementation, but overall, it was the least interesting system present, and the upgrades usually didn't feel as meaningful as what you were getting from Dredge's other systems. However, these systems work incredibly well together, and the atmosphere plus the loop are what made this game so hard to put down at 2 a.m. when I was thinking just one more day of fishing. If you like weirdness that you get from games like Oxenfree or the games from Remedy, or basically anything with weird horror vibes, this game absolutely has those vibes. Also, to briefly touch on the visuals, I regularly say that art direction is far more important than actual graphical fidelity. Dredge is a game that absolutely showcases why that's true. The world isn't graphically intense, but it is absolutely beautiful. The lighting is also fantastic, as you see the lights from other boats or villages reflected on the water, or can see things dwelling in the water that radiate light. It was all absolutely a treat to experience. All of that said, there was one area that I was a bit disappointed with, and that was with the story and the quests. Really, it's less about the story itself, which is interesting enough, but more about what you are doing to progress that story. Most of these story missions are a form of fetch quest. Sometimes it will be a form of catch me fish that are shaped like this, and you will have to use your knowledge and fish encyclopedia that you are given to figure out what kind of fish they're looking for, and when you can catch it, and later on what kind of gear you need to catch it. You then deliver those fish back to whoever asked for them. These missions were at least somewhat interesting, although essentially the same thing repeated several times, with different fish in a different area. The other type of quest are essentially fetch quests. Go pick up a thing and bring it here. Frequently these quests go in tandem. Go catch me these fish, and now here's a thing to take to the place, which sometimes leads you back to do the same thing over again. You do the same process in 5 areas, and that's pretty much it. There are some side quests, but they are typically put this thing in your inventory and take it somewhere. Or a few NPCs want you to catch a few varieties of a specific type of fish. One of those NPCs wanted 3 different types of mackerel, for example. One at a time, you catch the first, you bring it back. He then says, oh, I need another one, but this kind this time. You then go get that one, and then you bring it back, and he says, oh, actually, I need one more. And then eventually you bring back the third. He says, oh, okay, I'm good now, thanks. The inclusion of these quests has me asking a question that, oddly enough, I found myself asking earlier this year after I played another fishing game, which is obviously Dave the Diver. Is the game better for having included these quests and the gameplay that goes with them? I'm not sure it is, at least not for me, and I may be mostly alone in that opinion. But the part of the game that I loved had little to nothing to do with those quests. What I loved was the world, and the vibes, and the fishing, the inventory management, and that satisfying loop of fishing and then upgrading your boat. And while I do think there was something needed to progress you from area to area, I find myself wondering if there wasn't something else that could have been done that would have been more aligned with that core loop. I'm actually considering doing a longer form video talking about both Dredge and Dave the Diver and this particular aspect of them, although I'm scared to think of what that dislike ratio would look like. So we'll see. Alright, with that out of the way, while I did just talk about the quests at length, my issue with them is likely mostly a me issue that really just comes down to my personal taste. I doubt that's an issue for most people. Additionally, I don't think these are even close to a big enough issue to really make anyone not enjoy the game. The core loop and the world are absolutely amazing to engage with, and for most people, I don't think those quests need to be anything more than what they already are. I highly recommend Dredge to basically anyone. People that enjoy the weirdness and horror vibes are absolutely going to get the most out of Dredge, but I think that core loop is for just about anyone. Games like Dredge are why I love indies. It's got that magic that got me into indies back when I first played FTL and Factorio, and I would recommend adding Dredge to your backlog if you've not already played it. Okay, so the next Operation Backlog game will be Alan Wake American Nightmare, which I had originally skipped after I played Alan Wake years ago. Recently, I reluctantly decided to go back and play it in my preparation for Alan Wake 2. Turns out, maybe I shouldn't have been so reluctant. As always, if you like the video, maybe hit like or subscribe. I know everyone says that in their videos, and we're all tired of hearing it, but everyone does say it for a reason. Especially for the small channels, YouTube makes very little effort to show the video if there is an engagement. For example, my recent Mega Man 2 video was shown to people for about 45 minutes. Poor Mega Man. He got like 8 views. So anyway, it helps me and every other channel out immensely. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you for the next one.